Yo, what's going on, my dudes? Guys, today's going to be a comp tip PvP help video. This is specific for if you're a newbie going into comp. I have some tips that I believe will help you. I don't know that you'll be able to get the emblem since we're so far into the season, but I wanted to make this video to help you guys out anyway because there are some really basic things that you can do that should help you at least have a little bit more fun while you're playing through that arena. Let's call it that. Alright, cool. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Tip number 1. Setting expectations. Need to be realistic with yourself. If you're primarily a PvE player and you're stepping into comp, you must understand that humans are not great at initial adaptation. It takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of energy to get into the arena and just learn things. And that's the best way I can put that without sounding too unpleasant. So, set your expectations accordingly. I'm not saying to keep your expectations low, but I am saying that you need to understand that if you're new to that type of arena, you're probably not going to be God tier within a week or two. Okay, it's going to take a long time, and it's just good to know that up front, so that way, if you win or if you lose, there's nothing that is so stupidly crazy about that that you should feel one way or the other. Just understand that this is not your normal arena. Okay, number 2, use what you're good with. Now, I say this specifically for people that are good with weapons that they are not good with as meta weapons. I've gotten a lot of people that try to use hand cannons, but they're auto rifle users. If you're good with an auto rifle, use an auto rifle. That's what you're good with. If you're good with a hand cannon, well, use a hand cannon. I, personally, have 3 different loadouts that I use. None of them are hand cannon based. Not a single one. I've never been very good with hand cannons. I've never been very good with snipers. I don't use those when I'm in the comp arena. My buddies all laugh at me for that. Rapid fire pulse rifles. I use sidearms. I use fusion rifles. And I'll use the La Monarch bow. So, yeah. I mean, that throws off a lot of players, but I use those because those are what I'm good at. And it's good for you guys to identify what you're good at too, so that you can go in there and you can do the next tip, which is to play with confidence. Get in there and learn. You learn things by losing. All of us do. If you're in a comp environment, you're not there to sit back, to hold a lane. If your teammates are moving forward, guess what you need to do? Move forward and do that with confidence. I can guarantee you'll surprise yourself. If you run into an area, try not to be too reckless, but if you run into an area, shotgun, fusion rifle, I don't know, man, guns a-blazing, whatever you want to call it, you'll be surprised how many people you both catch off guard and some of the top dogs that would never expect you to do something so brazen and crazy, and you'll take them out. I still surprise myself when I run in there with a fusion rifle and these guys aren't ready for it because people don't normally play with my fusion rifle in that way. They typically hang back. I don't hang back. I rush and I use aggression while being an invisible hunter, which I know is a bit cheeky. But those are my 3 main tips to get you started in the comp playlist. One further thing I want to tell you is that it takes time. You need to put in the time. You have to understand that this is not the same thing as the PvE environment where, yeah, some enemies are really, really tough and they're kind of bullet spongy. A lot of these guys are thinking very hard about how to specifically beat you, the person in front of them. You have to understand that these guys have been playing for a very long time and they're very adaptable and they know every possible playstyle and every possible angle on these maps. Just understand that up front. That goes back to step number 1, setting realistic expectations. I played freaking Defizzle and Golden Eagle and Frostbolt, and while I do not beat them that often, every now and then I do, and it is an incredible feeling when I actually get the upper hand on them. It's rare, because these guys are some of the best that, exist in the gaming space, but the fact that I can go in there with some form of confidence, and I know that they're not invincible, I can beat them, and it feels really good. Right there, using what I got, right? I use my fusion rifle, it pisses them off, and they have to play against me to my liking, which means they have to then adapt their gameplay, putting them on their back foot. Now, unfortunately, these are guys that are incredibly good at being on their back foot. But I still use my playstyles with full confidence. And if none of that works, well, I learned something. I learned how they play, how they engage me, and how they move about the map in such a way that I now took a loss, but I learned. So just to recap everything we talked about in this video, set your expectations with realism. Make sure that if you're a PvE player, that you're not stepping into the competitive PvP environment thinking that you're somehow going to be God tier. Skill-based matchmaking will find you eventually. Use what you're good with. This is not the time to experiment. You should know going in what you're good with so that you can help your teammates out in the most effective way. And finally, play with confidence. get in there and just do your damnedest. Try your best. All right, my dudes. Hopefully this was useful to you. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, leave them in the comment section down below. Love all you guys. Keep it zen out there. I'll see you in the next one.